What is up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson. You're going to have to be patient with your boy. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm probably out of rhythm with it. Things have been extremely stressful in my life, and everything is changing every day. So I don't quite know what to say, which is why I haven't been on here and haven't been making videos. I'm going to give you the best updates I can while being respectful to everyone involved and trying to navigate carefully in such a delicate time. A lot of you probably know my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer a while ago. Like 2 years ago, roughly. We didn't know it was stage 4 at the time. We were just told that she had pancreatic cancer and that she was going to have to undergo a really intense surgery. It was called Whipple surgery, and for people that don't know what that is, essentially as basic as I can lay it out for you. They open you up, they take your insides out, they put them on a table, they cut off what they need to cut off, the cancer, and they put it back in. It's intense. Nowadays, the odds are, better, but it's still not great. So she did that, and she did great. She beat it, and she was told that she was in remission. And it was then when she was told that she was in remission that we found out that the cancer she had was, in fact, stage 4. We found out she was in remission, and we had about 6 months of that. During that time, I went through a divorce process and moved back home to the state of Ohio where I live and the city where my mother and my family lives. And I got back with a woman who, I have always said, if you guys followed the show, was my first love. If you guys followed the show at the time, you saw some of that. And you saw her involvement and you saw the way that I spoke about that. That came to a terrible end on New Year's Eve. That situation had caused such a strain between my mother and I that we actually stopped speaking. And we stopped speaking at a very bad time because she had found out that her cancer had come back. And it didn't look good this time. It was in her liver, but things were not looking great. There was a lot of it this time. And just to play inside Cam's head here, at the time, what I was trying to do was bring an entire collection of circuses, so individual circuses, right? My own, individually, the woman that I was with, every kid that I have, was trying to fix those situations, which involves what? Every one of their mothers and their situations, right? My mother, my family that I haven't seen in years because I've been living in other states and stuff like that. Trying to do a lot while trying to be the best father I can be on top of everything. I admit that I'm a human and I failed at that. I leaned so hard on my person at the time, and I needed such comfort at the time that I think I forgot that I was the stable force in a lot of people's lives. So when I removed myself and I went, you guys got this for a minute, I think, it wasn't so clear for them what the goal was, which is like, hey, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. Things are going to be different for sure. But especially with my kids, like, it may take dad a minute, but I'm trying to get this all together. And I can't explain to you like the logistics of a divorce and money and all that. I can't with you. And the fact that, like, guys, for those of you that know, I'm 100% VA disabled. I haven't worked a 9-to-5 job in 3 years. To get all of what I thought I was manifesting and dreaming and whatever, I started taking jobs again. So I was working a security job, and I was traveling back and forth to a different state to be with the person I was with. And then I was trying to get every second I could with my kid while trying to take on this job that was completely overwhelming and not good for me mentally. And then I started drinking again. And that really intensified everything. Because the calm is so calm that for people like me, when you do shit like that, you lean too hard into it. Same thing with like relationships and stuff. You lean too hard into people and go, I need you to comfort me so hard because I don't know how to do that myself. So I need these different things, right? And this is not going to be a conversation about alcohol, and I'm not doing that with you. So on one drunk-fueled evening on New Year's Eve, enough of my triggers had been triggered from that relationship, past fights just over the last year between that person and myself, and the overwhelming sensation that, again, that's lived in the back of my head that I was going to lose my mother. And there was nothing I could really do about that. And on top of that, I wasn't going to be a part of her final days because this situation that was tearing me apart every single day and making my life significantly worse instead of better in any way was the cause of that. So finally, one thing happened, and I fucking snapped. I said, get the fuck out of my house. And that's all I could say. I was kind of blacked out. I mean, and I remember it, but I was blacked out in just I'm so done with everything, with life in general. I'm fucking done. Get the fuck out of my house. Her kids, everybody. Get the fuck out of my house. In one moment, I felt the surrounding, encompassing, my kids' faces, my mother's face, my own face in the mirror every fucking morning, of hating what I saw, hating what other people saw in me, hating what I was becoming for a dream, right? And over the last month, I've tried to do my very best to keep to myself, mind my own business. I don't engage with other people who is not my family, and I don't have any fucking interest in it. Let's talk about my mother. So, within the last month, things have gotten very bad. And she was supposed to be given a timeline of how long she could expect to stay with us. And they keep pushing it off, which is good. You don't really want a timeline, right? But recently, for a minute, every appointment was, well, my numbers are the same, you know. These ones are changing, but we kind of know that because she's going through chemo and shit like that. We expected that. So, like, yes, that's going down, but everything is staying where we think it needs to be. We're not going to go there yet. There was a meeting that had come up. I don't really remember when at this point, but where they said, hey, man, you got two options left, which, again, is not them saying, hey, we didn't have no options, but one is kind of a last attempt clinical trial, and the other is a thing that they know they can do, but they would really rather her try the first one first. So she's going through that. Talking about the freak out on New Year's Eve, that's what I call it. I have been doing a lot of that recently. I have been having fits of rage that are almost uncontrollable. And that's why I keep to myself, and that's why I try not to engage with anyone right now, because nothing that comes out of here is going to be healthy or good for anyone else who's not my child. And again, like, as a father, you always have to compartmentalize your life, right? Whether you're married, single, whatever your shit is, right? You have your relationship with your child and how you can control that. And then you have your job, you have your romantic relationships, and you have your family. Those are all different avenues, and you can only give so much energy to so many things, right? So right now, my only focus is my daughter. And I work a new job now that is very good for me. And it's very mentally good for me, but I work a lot. I have to. I got a lot of shit going on that I need to take care of. And like, what I want to tell you guys is with my recent events of life going on, you can't fight reality. And you can be mad. And, you know, inside of the situation of my mother and all that, like, there's drama in there. There's family drama. There's stresses. There's injustices. There's being treated in ways that you don't think is right. And, you know, I've learned that as a man, you could do one or two things. You can get all upset and you can want to fight the situation. And, you know, for people like me, that's my go-to. Who can I yell at? Who's going to fix this? Let me talk to them. And I'll handle that however we have to handle that, even if that means I end up in jail over this shit. But again, there's levels with me. That middle level to the I'm ready to go to jail for this shit, the buffer zone has not so much been there recently. And it's honestly, it's not an excuse. I'm just fed up with life. I'm fed up with everything that I love being taken away. I'm fed up with sacrificing for shit that doesn't work. And I'm fed up fighting for things that I know are not going to end the way that I want them to. And over the past, I don't know, couple weeks, I've come to a pretty solid foundational realization, which is like, yo, fighting only gets you so far in life, which it did. It got me pretty far. Got me through the military. It got me through physically fighting in MMA and shit. Like, got me through sticking through really tough times in my life when I didn't think I was going to make it through. Losing kids and, you know, having kids I'm not able to see. Like, this is all shit that weighs on people. And it makes you very angry. But at some point, you have to understand as a grown-ass man that you're projecting this anger out onto the world unjustly. And you're putting it on people who don't deserve it. Or I'm not going to invalidate my situation or yours. Some people fucking deserve it, man. And this is where the episode might go off the rails a little bit, but some people fucking deserve it. Some people deserve to have you in their face fucking letting them know what's up. But listen, man, from somebody who's done that shit my whole life, and I've been doing it a lot fucking more recently. Telling people exactly what I think, when I think it, and how I think it with all the expletives. I don't give a fuck. You and wherever you are and everyone you're with, I could be there in fucking 10 minutes. Bet that. It works. It works to get people to leave you alone. Which is ultimately what I've been trying to do, I think. Is I have realized my place in most people's lives is I'm a filler. I'm there to fill time when they're bored or they're in between doing something else and something. Then they check in. Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Nothing. Okay, bye. But I also take responsibility for the fact that I am not an easy person to get along with. I'm not an easy person to talk to. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you complain about something. I'm going to tell you, hey, there's a resolve here. We've been doing this for 10, 15 fucking minutes now, and you're just complaining. Stop. I don't have time or patience for like small talk and stuff. I have a real bad time recently of like people try to talk to me about stuff and I'm just like, uh-huh. And then that awkward stare happens where they're like, you're not going to give me anything. And I'm like, go back to doing whatever I'm doing. It's like, man, I don't have time for this shit. You want me to give a fuck about like sports right now, which I do. I just watched the UFC events. It was great. It was probably the best time I've had, and I can't even tell you, man. It was nice to just sit, not have to worry about anything, just watch the fights. I got to watch some good fights. Had a good day at work yesterday, and it was like, man, I think that's the only way you can start to put anything in life when everything is going so terrible, is you can only, I think it was Post Malone recently that was like, no one can fix you but you. There's no one coming to save you. There's no one coming to be that shoulder to lean your head on. There's no one that you're going to lay next to that's going to be that ultimate peace for you, that's going to fix that pain that you live with. It's not going to happen, man. You have to learn. And here's the thing that I think I was putting off for so many years that has gotten me into so much bullshit, is at some point you have to just sit with life. And, you know, the situation with my mother has taught me this more than anything else in my life, which is sometimes all you can do is sit with the pain that is. The absolute reality. Like, things end. Some things come to a hard done, whether you want them to or not. And, you know, it's one of those situations where I say you have to know when it's time to stop fighting. I mean in anger. Stop blowing up on people. Stop trying to make the entire world so afraid of you that they just choose not to engage with you, hoping that then the bullshit will stop. I promise you it won't. If you cut every single person out of your life and you end up alone and just angry at the world, I promise you're still going to have issues with your car, your coworkers, your finances, your neighbors. Something's going to happen. You're not going to scare the world away. You're just going to scare away the people that try to be around you. Okay? And again, I'm not saying you have to have a big circle. I'm not saying you have to have a romantic relationship. I'm just saying there's a time to just sit and be. And I think for so many of us, that time is now, because there is so much going on in all of our lives. I'm putting mine out on Front Street as I always do, but guys, I know that your lives are tough too. That's why I make this show. For the 2 people that are going to click on it, you know, it's like, whatever you're going through, I'm back in the like real world again. I work in a place where it's like I get to see the spectrum of literally all walks of people. And I see everyone from a downtrodden kid who's kind of living a real tough go at home, you could tell. And he's trying with every bit of his might to keep that young, hungry, I can do anything spirit alive. And it's great to see. And then you see people who are very wealthy, and you see them in misery. You see them, just the way they answer the doors and stuff. They're fucking angry. They're drunk all the time. Like, you see absolute shambles inside mansions. And then you see the in-between. You know, you get to see people, young people in love, living their best life. And you get to see single people going through it. And, you know, and for me, it's nice because you could take 2 minutes to engage with a person. And one thing I've been trying to do recently, and it catches people off guard every time I do it, is when I hand them their stuff. I deliver pizzas. When I hand them their stuff, I point at them and I go, hey, man, have a good night, all right? And they go, oh, okay. And they're like, it's almost like they're being told to go do that. And they're like, oh, all right, well, since you said so, I guess I will. And it's like, you know, when life is tough and you find that there's absolutely nothing you can do, look at all the things that you want to do. Look at how many of those things are emotionally charged and knock all of those off the table. And then see what you're left with. You're going to find what you have to do. Those are your responsibilities. And those are probably all the things that you've been putting off because you've been doing all the shit you want to do that was emotionally charged. Which, again, is why I've taken a big back seat to the show and recording and stuff like that. I've tried to really be there for people in my life that need me right now. And, one of the things I deal with a lot is I feel like I should be needed or wanted a lot more than I am. So, I always want to try to be like, well, what can I do? How can I help? And then sometimes, things could feel personal when maybe they are or maybe they aren't. And then you just have to sit still and go, okay, well, man, not everything's about you. And, just because your life is falling apart doesn't mean that other people's aren't either. So you can either be a problem in their life, another one, by yelling at them, screaming at them, making them afraid to walk around. Or you could, at nothing else, leave people be and not make situations worse, right? I think right now, with the status of the show, it's a lot. It's a lot with everything going on. And honestly, my brain is in such a fog all the time. Guys, most of the time, to be very honest, I work all the time. Like, I just worked a double yesterday. And then I try to spend as much time as I possibly can with my kid. So, like, even if that's just I go and get her before she goes to school and hang out with her for a little bit. And then I take her to school. Like, I do whatever I can. And that's it. I sleep all the time. That the term, like, what they call it, like bed dread is real, where you just get stuck in the bed and all you can do is sleep. Funny story. I remember when I was in jail, I used to watch dudes sleep their time away. Dude would know he's doing a week in there and he would just, all right. And he'd get comfortable and he'd go to sleep. He'd wake up for a couple meals, but for the most time, he was asleep. And I would always look at, and people in the military would do the same thing. Anytime we'd go somewhere and they didn't want to be there, they'd be like, all right, how long we got? 9 hours of this bullshit? Okay. And they would just rack out. And I would always be in awe of that. It was like, man, how in the hell do you guys just choose, I'm not going to suffer through this, I'm just going to go to sleep? I think I'm starting to figure it out. At some point, your body just goes, oh, there's absolutely nothing I could do about it? Okay. And you just crash. Probably not the healthiest way to heal, but, I'm learning now that this is just the beginning of a very long process, right? Not only am I dealing with my mother's situation and dealing with that, but, like, I'm still not dealing with the first situation. So it's one of those things where you can only do what you can do. And, you can only grieve the way you're going to, whether that's one situation or the other. But what I tell you guys is have an outlet, have places you can go, like that. Even if it's something like this or a journal, you don't have to post your shit on you crying and shit on YouTube. But I want you to know, man, it's okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay to let yourself go there. And, like, I've been so afraid to go here and just be like, yeah, life hurts. And especially to tell you guys that. To let you guys, like, I've always told you guys my struggles and stuff, but to tell you, like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the stuff that I have talked about for so long, and I'm not handling life well right now. That's just all I can say. That's just honest, I'm trying. Like I've said 1,000 times on this show, like, you can't give up. No matter how bad it seems, like, sometimes, what the fuck is the point? You won't know if you give up. And you'll never win by quitting. It's cornball as that is to fucking say, but, like, if you give up and you just stop, or, you do the worst thing you could do, one, you leave people, right? So we're not going to do that. And two, Like, all this shit we have made it through in this life, you and I, whoever's watching this, I do believe that's for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I don't know if it's a creator or a destiny or a simulation. I don't know. But I know that there's other people out there that sit alone and they feel the absolute wreckage of their hopes and dreams, and it sits in the room with you. It sits in the room like ghosts, you know. You can see them. You know, especially stuff like your mom, man. You indirectly, I know y'all are going to give me shit for wiping my face and stuff on my shirt. You indirectly have so many dreams that you just don't even think of. Like what you're going to do when your kids get married and what role your parents play in that. I already don't have one of my parents because piece of shit. Second one is being taken, and here's the real bitch of it, right? I've talked about it before. My father's drank his entire life. Always has, probably always will. Whatever. Drank his entire life. Don't know what he's doing, don't give a shit. My mother, one of the only members in my family who's ever kept her drinking under control, gets fucking liver cancer. What? Guys, life is not fair. Life is not fair. It's not. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna... You can only do with what presents itself in front of you that day. And here's the motto I stand on now. When you live a life that is based off doing the things you have to do, when you have to do them to get yourself in a position where you can be the person that your kids can rely on, that's it. And you just focus on that, right? Whether that's for 50 years and you're just the person that you're just there for your kids, hey man, there's no better life to live than that. No better life. I don't give a fuck what you do for a career. I don't care what you do in your spare time. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Nothing will be better than that. If you don't have kids, invest yourself into your art, your craft, your career. Find that thing that makes you lose track of time. And that honestly takes away the pain of life. Guys, there's nothing wrong with that. This life is hard. We can all sit around and talk about positive mindsets change. Hey, man, sometimes shit sucks. And that is okay. I hope you guys know how much I love you. It's a raw, vulnerable one. This is for the people that give a fuck, I guess. For the people that have been waiting and the people asking me how everything's going. This is how it's going. I love y'all. I wish you the best. And I don't know when I'll talk to you again, but I'll check in. I'll check in and let you guys know what's going on when I can. And I hope you know I genuinely appreciate all of you guys. This shows me a lot to me over the years. It's been a place where I can come and just be myself when I can't do that anywhere else. So, appreciate y'all. Be good.